Welcome back to the Discussions with David. We're so happy you came here to join us once again. I know some of you haven't seen us in a couple of months here in terms of this exact episode, but throughout this time we had our events and had other videos. And one of the core values for our organization is to make sure that we provide you really the key information and not just flood you with many things in your email inboxes or other things. We know that especially this time of year, there's always many things that happen. But as an organization, we want to focus on what's most important and make sure that we really focus on those details. Anyways, look, this time of Christmas and even to New Year's, this time of kind of great excitement, but also great emotion. And some of those emotions are ones which are difficult. As we reflect on this time, part of it also is, things that really make us sad and really kind of break our hearts. One of those things as we look back over the years is looking at a lot of our great partners and a lot of just dear people that we've missed. Whether we talk about Dr. Julian, whether we talk about Pastor Faustin, or even my father, people we've lost over the last couple of years. And those things that really kind of break our hearts as we think about these things. Also, as we think through this time, there's things that have many of us concerned or unsure. Many of our friends and partners are dealing with continued illnesses, whether those are cancers or other things like that, and things that make them very nervous and concerned. Also, many of you are dealing with just the economic impacts throughout this world. Many of you are dealing with things of just increased kind of rises in prices of fuel and other goods, or just economic instabilities, and those things have many of you concerned. And those things are understandable. Those emotions are real, and God doesn't ask us to hide or to discount those emotions. But on top of all those things, and while those things are true and still present, we know that God is good, and He has been powerful, and He has been present. One of the things as you kind of reflect back upon a year, and one of the advantages of something of New Year's as well, is looking at all the different things along the way that God did to make sure that we got to this point. All of His provisions. And those of you that either kind of saw some of our recent videos or even attended some of our events, got to tell you some of the amazing things that God has done even over this past year in sustainable medical missions. We're over 8,700 kind of volunteers. We're trying to train these kind of new leaders as they're kind of rising up kind of within the organization, be able to transform their communities. There are over 1,055,000 kind of people that were impacted deeply this year alone. People that were freed from diseases that were holding them in bondage, as well as those who are be able to hear the gospel of the incredible news of Jesus and how much He loves each one of them. And so those are some of the amazing things and stuff that have happened as we see the ways that God has provided. We also look forward to this upcoming year. And while there's many uncertainties, we also know that God has provided ways in which we will provide over 100 different supports for projects for these many leaders all throughout Africa and Asia to make sure they're able to transform their communities in deep and powerful ways. But on top of that, we also have different things like Special Nyama, this project, which is our first pilot of looking at how do we scale up on a national level to make sure that things are sustainable long term, where they're not reliant upon funding from the United States, but actually the funding needed to kind of maintain projects as well as growth within nations that exist within those nations themselves. And also on top of that, we have a lot of kind of great leaders that we're able to really celebrate in this upcoming year. As we have Doug Wallach kind of joining as a new board president, Dave Hallidell as a new board treasurer. Also have a lot of kind of great leaders of excellence. Our newest ones that just kind of joined us, having Pastor Peter Chize from Zambia, Pastor Chanda from Zambia as well as Afrida in Malawi, and many other young leaders that we'll be raising up over this kind of next couple of years as well. There's many amazing, exciting things on top of some of these uncertainties and have this balance, but knowing that throughout these things that God is good. I also want to take this time just to thank each one of you just for your support and for your prayers all throughout this year. And you want to wish each one of you just a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you, and God bless you.